class.
Hi, everybody. My name is Debbie, and I'm on the creative design team at Sizzix. And thank you for joining us. You're ready to blossom and sparkle today with the project. We have all sorts of projects to share with you at the end of the class, but the class that I'm going to be walking you through and doing the step-by-step is using the stencil and stamp tool, and one of our sentiment stamps as well. So the card is one of our layering stencils. It's the painted flower. And our layered stencils have 4 individual stencils. It starts with the background, and then the next image is a little less detail. And as each stencil gets to the last one, which is the 4th one, it has more detail. So I'm going to walk you through the tool itself so you can see exactly how it works, show you a little bit of inspiration after that. And we're going to get super excited. And I hope whether you have it now, I hope you're playing along with me today. And if you don't have it, I hope you're ready to log on to the website and order it as soon as possible. So if Felicia could go ahead and turn it to the overhead camera, then I will get started. So the tool itself, you get 4 parts to the tool. You get the base, which is this part obviously underneath. It has a non-stick surface at the bottom. It kind of has a spongy type finish, so it doesn't slip or slide while you're doing, especially if you're doing any of your mediums or you're blending with your inks. So that's a perfect little feature on the bottom. It won't slip and slide at all. You have the base itself. You have the adapter. The adapter is a part of the tool that enables you to move your stencil around, and I'll show that to you while I'm doing it. It's not part of the project, but I'll show you the reason we have that. So you don't need it all the time. It depends on what you're going to be doing, especially if you want to do any repetitive pattern. It also includes 1 sticky grid sheet. So if you're familiar with our sticky grid, it has a low tack finish. It's a double-sided. It's almost like a not as sticky as a, or maybe as sticky as a Post-it note type finish. It is replaceable. It's consumable, not consumable as far as you eat it, but you will also be able to replace it if it starts to get a little bit of your glitters or embossing powders on it, because it does have a sticky finish. But what we recommend is once you adhere it down, so you get 1 inside of your package, but you can go ahead and order replacement, a package. I believe it has 10 in a package. So you can replace that, but it would adhere to your base here. But what we recommend is not to throw out this 1 piece after you take it out of your package, out of your tool, because you want to just, it'll protect it. It won't get it, collect any of your glitters or powders on it. So it kind of protects it and gives it a longer life. The purpose of it is it will adhere any of your materials that you're going to be stenciling. So for today's project, I'm going to be laying down cardstock. It'll stay put. So as I'm blending through the stencil, it's not going to move around. And it also won't tear my project, because once I peel my material off, since it's such a low tack, it won't rip it. It'll come off nice and easy. And then I just replace this down and then go ahead and store it. So it's perfect. Just make sure you don't throw this piece out. The platform here, you don't use this when you are going to be stenciling. This is only for stamping. So the reason for this is you want to be able to register your stamp in the same spot every time. So this will be peeled off. I will have my cardstock or whatever I'm stamping or stenciling. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down there like that, rub it down, and it's stuck, good to go. So if I'm going to be stamping, I want to make sure that my grid, so this has a grid here. You can feel the grooves on the top, and it's smooth on the bottom. Now, no matter which way it's going, it will still fit on here. But if you put your stamp, your clear stamp on here, it's not going to adhere perfectly because these ridges are engraved. So that also lets a little air underneath it, so your stamp will not adhere. You want to make sure the grid textured side is on the top, because this side here is smooth and your stamp will cling to it perfectly. You lay your paper down, put your stamp on top, and that's part of the workshop I'll show you. And then stamp it, ink it, stamp it, ink it, stamp it, and it's going to be staying put. It'll be perfect the entire time. So you know you're good to go when you have that down with the grid side up. All righty. Marcy, when you get a chance, could you run me in some of the archival black ink? I'm sorry, I thought I had it here, but I do not.
On my way.
Okay, thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you the stencil that I'm going to be using. So the stencil that I'm using is the painted flower. And it shows you the image right here. Stencil number 1 is almost all, well, it is always the background. The next one is the image itself. The next one's a little bit more detail, and then the last one's got the most detail. So the stencils are numbered perfectly. They have it at the top. So I don't know if you'll be able to see it very well, but right here it says Sizzix, and then it says the item number, and then 1. That's the one. This is stencil number 1. The next one is stencil number 2. Thank you so much. So what you want to make sure you do is, if I'm going to be doing any kind of stenciling and I want to make sure that it's down here lower, I'm going to put my adapter here. And you want to make sure, if I do it like this, obviously it looks like it still fits, but you know it's upside down just because it doesn't look as smooth and finished. It's always a good rule of thumb to be able to read the name Sizzix legibly. So if it's like this, you don't even see the word. That's just a good way to remember, okay, this is the right side up. So if I want my stencil to be a little down lower, I'm going to make sure stencil number 1 is on the top. So you've got the little notches here. They fit perfectly on there, ready to go with my stenciling. If I decide I want it to be up a little higher, I'm going to do it like that. My paper stays put. If I move my paper at all, the registration of the next layers after that will not be perfectly matched up onto the actual painted flower. So if I have the positioning right here for this background, I'm going to go ahead and then keep it here, lift this up after I've inked it, and then I'm going to go ahead with my next one and then each one after that. If I want to do a repetitive pattern, I can move this up, I can move it over, and then I could just stencil here. So you can do a repetitive pattern. That's something I'll show you at the end of the workshop, just a couple little samples that I've done. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. If I wanted this up here, just at the very top of the page, I can go ahead and put it right there. You don't always need to use your adapter. It's just for positioning it around where you want it to be. But for me, for some reason, I always like to have it down a little bit more to the center of the page. So I bring this adapter to the closest to the bottom notch, and then I go ahead and add it right to the notches there. So I'm going to take my Distress ink and my adapter with the blending tool, and I'm going to go ahead. I just like to hold it down a little bit, and I start here on the where you see a majority of the plastic. You don't want to start right on there because you'll actually get the exact image of your circle. You could still blend it away, but I just like to start here and just kind of gauge how I want it to be as far as the heaviness of my pressure. And I'm just going to keep going. And it's okay if you're going to get it off to the side a little bit because chances are you're going to be trimming it. I mean, you can avoid it by not going over that far, but just keep it in the area where you know the stencil opening is. And I'm just going to keep going. If I want to blend another color, I could go ahead and do that. It depends. It's all up to you. The reason I thought I would do green on this side is just because I thought it kind of gives the idea of this would be the foliage for the painted flower. And you just keep blending it until it's the way you want it to be. And the funny, not the funny thing, but what I love about this tool is I'm always like so amazed and happily surprised at the work of art I created. And it kind of reminds me, I guess I'm not dating myself when I say paint by numbers because I think they still make paint by numbers, but for paint by numbers, they decide the color you have that you're using. Something like this, you decide, because a paint by number, if you're painting by numbers, they tell you which green you're going to be using for number 2, and they tell you what pink you're going to be using for number 4. So there is the area that I have already created with my stencil, my number 1 stencil. But I want to decide, I decided I want to have it a little bit darker down here. Since I didn't move my paper and I kept the adapter here, I know it's going to be registered exactly where it was previously. And I just want to do it a little bit heavier down there. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to take my next color, stencil number 2. Everything stays exactly where it was. The stencil itself knows exactly where the flower is supposed to be because everything, the adapter and my cardstock has stayed where it was originally. So now I'm going to go with the base of the flower. So what you want to remember is you always want to start with the lighter color and then progressively go to the darker color. The darkest color will be stencil number 4. And the reason for that, well, not the reason, but it just kind of gives you more of a gauge of not a shadowing, but it just gives the base of the flower gets lighter and it gets stronger towards the very end, especially where the more detail is. And the way that I like to remember how to do that is I like to say, just in case I forget, like, how do I remember? How do I remember to start with the lighter? Well, think about your day. Your day starts in the morning and it's light in the morning and it progressively gets darker at the end of the day. So that's the way that I like to remember. Start out stencil number 1 and number 2 are your lighter colors, and then the progressively get darker towards the end, just like your end of your day. So the colors, it's up to you. I mean, I think I might do the same flower, but in fall colors for my Thanksgiving invitations, because I like to send my cards out to remind everybody, don't forget to bring the dish that you're known for. So I like to mail out a card. They know that I'm in this industry, so they always expect something a little different every year. So that's the monster I've created. Okay, so if I wanted to go a little heavy just on the edges, on the border of this, you can tell that it kind of creates like a rim, like a darker rim. So there is stencil number 2. Now stencil number 3, as you can see it's starting to get a little more detail. I'm going to go ahead, put that in. It's going to register exactly where it should be because I haven't moved the adapter and I have not moved the stencil itself. Okay, next color. As I said, I'm progressively going to be going a little bit darker. So if you have any questions, be sure to put them in the chat. And the hashtag is Make It With Michaels and Michaels Classes. So how you can see how the colors are just starting to bring the painted flower to life. And I could stop at the stencil. I don't have to do all of the details. I don't have to do the first stencil that created that green, we call it the background. All of our stencils have 4, and the first one is always the background. But if you don't want to have that splashy border, this green piece, you don't have to do that. If you don't want to have this or the 4th stencil, you don't have to do that either. It's up to you. You are the artist. And the inks, especially the distress inks, they rinse off beautifully. You just run them underwater. You don't have to scrub them or anything. They just roll off and just tap them dry and or air dry, wipe them dry, whatever you need to make sure that they're good. But what I need to do when I'm doing any kind of medium, any of our effects, which I will be doing with this one, you want to make sure you put it in a little dish of either warm water, any kind of water, just to get it softened up. You don't want it to dry, especially if it's the any of the pastes. So if any of you are playing along with me, I'd love to see what you're coming up with. So make sure if you do it, that you do the hashtag if you post it so we can take a peek at it. So it matches up perfectly. The actual stencil is the same shape. It's just doing a little bit more detail along the edges of the one below it, or on top, I should say, of the one below it. So I'm just going to go a little bit darker. And like I said before, it's okay if you get off on the edge over here because you're most likely going to be trimming it off. And you don't have to do the full flower. You could cut this flower like for the project. We're cutting it in pieces to kind of piece it together. So you could use this and cut it twice and then you have 2 cards. So it's up to you how you want to position it. And how beautiful is that painted flower? I mean, the possibilities are endless. You could do it in Christmas colors. You could do it in fall colors. You could do it in, I mean, this would be a beautiful Mother's Day card, anything for springtime. I just love how that turned out. So I'm going to let this set just for a second before I go ahead and do the next part because I want to make sure the ink doesn't just blend a little bit with the paste that I'm going to be using. But the stamp that I'm going to be using I'll just walk you through this one. This is our one of our Sunnyside sentiments. This is number 4. You get 5 stamps in it. You get do what makes you happy. Congratulations, so happy for you. Have a fabulous birthday, grow in grace, and life is beautiful. And life is beautiful is the one that I'm going to be using. And they work perfectly with any of our stencils, any card. You don't even have to use stencils. Any type of cards that you have. I mean, getting 5 stamps in one package is great. And with the stamp and stencil and stamp tool, with the registration of it being on your actual tool itself, pressing it down, just repositioning your paper in the same spot every time, you know it's going to be a perfect registration. So that is what I'm going to be using the Life is Beautiful one on this particular project. Okay, so next I'm going to take, so if you want to do any kind of effects, when I say effects, it could be our dimensional paste, it could be any inking as far as embossing powder. If I wanted to do embossing powder, we like to recommend that you do any of your effects on the final stencil. So stencil number 4. So you're going to keep all of this down. If I move this around and realize, oh shoot, I want to add this to it, it's not a big deal that you moved it, because you are able to maybe maneuver it around to find out where that stencil is supposed to be. But since I kept everything put, I'm able to just place it back down where it was supposed to be. So if I wanted to do embossing powder, I could take an embossing ink pad and just ink it up all through the stencil. Keep the stencil on it and just ink it, ink it, ink it, ink it. And then hurry, run, sprinkle your embossing powder over, tap it off, and emboss it. And that will give more of an embossed, I have a little sample of it here. I don't know if you can see. It gives a little embossed finish there on there. So I did an embossed ink and then put the powder on it, tapped it off, heated it up, and it bubbled it up. But for this particular project, I'm going to be using our 3D adhesive. And this is one of our effects, our effects range, and it's, like it says, an adhesive, and it'll adhere anything on there, whether you're using any of your flakes, you just want it to dry just to be a little bit tacky. Any of your flakes, but we're going to be using glitter. You could use any mediums, anything that needs any kind of, needs to be adhered to it. Any of the foil sheets, you could do that. Once it's tacky, not damp wet, but just still tacky, just press any of your effects on there and cap it off if it's glitter, and you're good to go. So with a simple basic palette knife and the 3D adhesive, I'm just going to scrape a little bit on there. So what I like to do is I like to start off to the side. Depends on how thick of a layer I want it to be. I'm going to start off to the side and just wipe it through the openings. And I have my dish of water right there on the side because I want to make sure that this comes off as soon as I'm finished. And you just want to scrape it through. You could use our texture tool as well. You just want to make sure the finish is smooth on all the openings. And it's up to you how thick you want it to be. So I'm going to lift that up. I'm going to put it in my dish of water. Just have a basic little tray like this, just so it softens up what I've just adhered down. And now let me dry my hands. And now I'm going to take my funnel tray. Now I can lift it up. So I don't want to put my glitter on it while it's on my stencil and stamp tool, only because I don't want it to, let me peel this up off of the sticky grid. I don't want any of the glitter to get onto my sticky grid. I do want it to get into my funnel tray. So before this dries, I'm just gonna, I like to overdo it because with the tray, funnel tray, it's going to pour right back into it. Let me get it away from my tool. I mean, it won't ruin the tool having glitter on it. You just don't want it to completely coat it. You just replace your tool. So I've tapped it off as much as I can. With my funnel tray, I can bring it down towards the center. And then I bring it down to the corner. And then, hopefully you can see this. I'm going to take the little lid off here. And of course I got a little bit inside the lid, but that's okay. Clean up my workspace. Us crafters, we like to make a mess, right? It takes no time to make a mess, it just takes forever to clean it up. Okay, so I'm done with my glitter. And I'm going to take this away because I don't need this mat so it doesn't get on anything else. Okay, so the reason I mentioned before that we want to, or I mentioned in my kit that we want to have a paintbrush is because I like to have it just to brush off the excess glitter. So just take a fine brush and you just want to brush it away. You don't want to get too close to your painted area. So what I like to do is just make sure it's completely dry before I do that. So I'm going to show you one that I've already done. And you just want to make sure you just brush it away. This is completely dry. So I can just brush it away from that area. Or you can wait till it's completely dry before you do this and tap it off. So any excess will tap off. But that's what's good with having these fine brushes is you can brush away the excess, especially if you're going to be adding a stamp. You don't want the stamp design to be on the actual project itself. So once that's all done, then I need to do my stamp and then I'll start assembling it. So just while you're kind of creating your project, your stamping card, you can do this, that it will be drying while you're creating the stamping part. So let me put this back down here. I got a little bit of water on my tray. I mean on my tool, so I'm going to reposition this back down. And the little grooves will show you exactly where it needs to line up. Lift that up. A little bit of lint on there. Okay. Sweater. So with the grooves up, I'm going to position this inside the tool like that. Now I'm going to get my stamp that I want to use. So just a piece of cardstock. I've already cut it, measured, ready to size because as far as cutting it while on camera, that would be noisy and you don't need to see that part. So I'm going to position that exactly where I need it to be. I've chosen the sentiment Life is Beautiful. Peel that off of there. And you want to keep these too. You want to keep this here, not just to remember what it says, because you can still tell what it says, but just keep your sentiments all together and just position it back where it needs to be and you're good to go. So I'm going to lay this down exactly how it wants to be because this is the flat side that's going to be adhered to the lid of my stencil and stamp tool. So position this centered where I need it to be. That's exactly where I want it to be. And I'm going to go ahead and close this down. Press it. And now it's adhered up there. So every time I go to stamp it, it's going to be ready to go in the same spot. If I want to do multiples, if I want to do bulk, I can make sure I have it positioned in the same spot and just keep bringing it down. If I realize, oh darn, I didn't put enough ink on there, it's keep that there, keep this here, and it's just going to be registered the same way every time. So I'm going to ink it up here. And then I'm going to press it. Do it one more time because part of the U didn't look like I put enough ink. And there it is, exactly how I want it to be. So put my lid back on my ink. Peel that up. Life is beautiful. And take that off and just position it over there because I don't need that anymore. I don't need my tool anymore. Put that off to the side. Okay, now I've already got my green matte piece already ready to go. So I'm just going to take my adhesive roller and I'm going to center that on here like this. this is ready to go. I got that piece there. So to be able to assemble the card ready to go, I've already cut these pieces. So these are the ones that I just showed you how I created. I've got it just ready to go. So it was all, I trimmed it down to 8.5 by 8.5, I believe. And then, no, sorry, 4.5 by 4.5. And then each square is 2.25 by 2.25. So that's ready to go. So what I did next is I did a mat out of our ivory opulent. So I don't know if you could tell on camera, but this has kind of a pearly finish to it. This is part of our opulent ivory cardstock. So I'm going to position this onto my opulent cardstock. I just want to see exactly where it's going to be first before I make the grand decision. So I want to center it on there, make sure the borders are even all the way around. I would love to know if any of you guys are making along or if you already have your tool and do you love it as much as we love it. I mean, it's so much fun. Whenever I make something with this, I'm always like showing my husband, look what I just did. Not that he's impressed, but he pretends to be. But I'm always so happy with my outcome. And you just want to puzzle piece it together. You could do your gaps bigger if you want. You could do them smaller. You could do just one. You don't even have to cut it. And this is just showing you a technique. You could just do your full flower in the center without having the pieces together. You're the artist and you get to create it. Okay, so that's positioned pretty much where I want it to be. Let me move it over just a little bit. Thank goodness for this tape that's forgiving within the first little bit. Almost looks like a window pane. Out my gaps. If you use any of the adhesives, you can also, if you use our dimensional paste, you can color it as well. So you could use any of the acrylic paints and color that also. So that's ready to go. Now I'm going to do the green. This is from our botanical cardstock pack. I'm going to position it. So it's up to you. The card could have a top fold or it could have a side fold, whatever you desire. I love square cards. Postage is a little bit more, but it still makes such a cute shape for a card. And people love getting something different in the mail, not the basic bill that you dread seeing in your mailbox, which unfortunately you can't avoid. And see how it all comes together once you have the mats on there. And then the final piece is the little sentiment. So what I did is I took our foam tape, and our foam tape is a double-sided foam. And it gives a little dimension. You could lift it up extra high by doubling it up, or you can do it just in one individual long strip. I'm going to do 3 little pieces. I like to add another piece of adhesive backing on the opposite side, just so it doesn't gum up my scissors. So I'm cutting paper on both ends, and the foam is in the middle. So there's not, my scissors aren't hitting any gummy area directly. Just position it there. One in the middle for stability. And then one more. There. Back in here. I love a little bulk in a card. Whether you're putting a gift card in it or dimension on top of it, just a little fun to add a little something to it. Now you can put this anywhere you want. I put it in the middle just because I like the way it was positioned, but I could have done it down here so you don't lose the detail of your center of your card. And since the foam tape is so strong, you're able to adhere it really well to the actual glitter. So it doesn't, the glitter still doesn't impede any of the adhesive on the foam tape. And that's it. Life is beautiful. I mean, the detail on this, the fact that you made it, it's almost like you're the, well, you are the artist. You got to choose the colors, where you want it to be. It's such a fun tool, and the possibilities are endless as far as what you can do. And I'll show you a few projects in a minute. I just love the fact that once you do it, no matter what colors you're using, it almost looks like a totally different project each time, using the same flower, just changing the colors up a bit, putting it on another type of, not a card, you could do it on invitation, all sorts of things. And kind of, you know, gives you, just the creative ideas that you come up with are so much fun. And just the way that you can incorporate from the invitation, if you use it for an invitation, you could do the same flower on a place card. You could do the same flower for the menu card, napkin rings, whatever. It ties the whole thing, and I love to entertain. So the fact that the theme carries from the invitation all the way through to the actual party, people notice it, they recognize it, and they definitely appreciate it. So it's a lot of fun. I absolutely love it. So like I said, the tool comes with the platform, the part for the stamping, the sticky grid, and your adapter. Now your adapter is going to be for you to position it anywhere you want it to be on your page. And I will show you that right now with a couple of projects that I've come up with. So this is showing you an idea that I did using the same painted flower, but as you can see, I didn't do the green area, which is background. It's not always green. I just did it green to look like the leaf. But I did stencil number 2, 3, and 4. I did not do 1. But the fact that I positioned my stencil from the adapter, I moved it over here and did it for all 3 stencils. I moved it down, same idea, just positioned it all around the page. I moved my paper around. So you can position your paper, lift it up, turn it around, and then do it. And that way I was able to create this all around scrapbooking page. It could be obviously it should be for a card, but it could be something you can frame, a home decor piece. So using the Grow and Grace, which is also part of the sentiment number 4, same flower, just totally different colors. And I think that turned out really fun. I love just how soft it turns out, especially when you use the inking. So that's showing you how to do this with different, using it with the adapter. So here it is, my friend Alexis did this one, and instead of doing, after she did the stencil layers, she took the express glue and did individual dots and then added a little bit of glitter. See the detail. Added a little bit of glitter to where her dots are, and just added the little stamens, kind of her little handmade stamens. And for this one, stencil number 4, she used her palette knife or texture tool and wiped through the dimensional paste. So as you can see, with the dimensional paste, if she did it after it's completely dry, I believe, the color shows through. How pretty is that? That's the detail. I don't know if you can see the dimension. You can see how it's a really thickened layer. You just scrape it through. You don't have to heat it. You just let it dry naturally. So those are those few. And this one I just took a basic stamp pad. Sorry guys. I used a basic little gift bag, a small one. Now, the trick about this one is when I adhered it to the actual base of the platform, only this part here is the part that is adhered. So you really want to hold it down as you do it. It didn't shift around at all, but since this is another layer on there, you just wanted to hold it down as you did it. But I was pleasantly surprised at how fun that turned out. I love how that turned out.
Hey, Debbie. This Felicia. Hey. I don't know, did your mic move or something?
No, I didn't turn anything off. You can't hear me?
We can hear you. It just sounds a little muffled a little bit.
No, I haven't touched anything at all. We
Okay.
turned off the fan a second ago, but that was the only other thing. I haven't touched any of the units or the.
Okay.
I don't
Just
know.
keep going. I'm not for sure what it is, but is the sound has changed somehow.
Yeah, the main room air hasn't been on at all since I started. I just had one by my feet, but that's now off. And that's it. I haven't touched the overhead at all. So I don't know if it's
Okay.
Wi-Fi in here, maybe, if that has anything to do with it.
We can hear you. Like I said, it's just a little muffled, but just keep going.
Okay. Sorry, my friends. So this is just using a basic small little tote bag. All four stencils I used, and I just loved how that turned out. Just add a little bit of tissue. If you did a party and your invitation had the painted flower and you placed cards, how cute would this be if this was a little party favor for them at the end of the event? So that's using the just a tote bag, basic tote bag. Same exact idea. I did the full stencil onto a piece of cardstock, and then I cut it with one of the Sizzix tags. Now the tags are a framelit technically because you can see through it. So I can position it wherever I wanted it to be onto the cardstock itself and then die cut it. So if I wanted this flower to be over here, I would have moved my tag die off to the side for the flower to be on this side, depending on what size tag I want to use. But I thought this turned out really cute. I thought that was a fun idea using it that way. And then this is using the confetti pocket die. Now Michaels has this one on their website. It's a confetti pocket. It's just a basic die that has a little envelope, and you just die cut it. You run it through the machine, positioned over your flower. So this is using fall colors. I think that turned out so fun. And just tuck a little, too small for a gift card, but not too small to roll up some cash and put in there, or a little piece of jewelry. But same idea, just run it through the machine, position the die cut tag or confetti pocket wherever you want it to be on your machine over the cardstock, run it through, and you've got a tag that's got the cute little flower on it, a little bit kind of tucked around to the back too. Also, that same die has tiny little hearts that you can cut multiples at a time, and I believe circles. And cute little confetti, tuck them in there with the little gift, and all color coordinated and fun. And the last one I want to show you is using our celestial box. This is also on the Michaels website. It's also a die that is a thin lip, but you can see through it. So it's technically a framelit. You just cut it in two pieces, but I laid one of the pieces down because each piece has these two sides. So I laid it on top of my already painted stenciled cardstock and just decided where I want it to be. And this ties in with the same technique. So little party favor on top of their plate at the dinner party, and how cute is that? So those are some fun projects I wanted to share with you. I don't know if I lifted this one up close enough to the camera so you could see the colors and the stamping, how it all just kind of flows together, and just using it, moving it around on your tool makes for a great all-around pattern. I mean, that would be perfect for wrapping paper, a band of paper that you could do for anything. Oh, sorry, getting a question in here from one of you guys. Oh, for the big sheet? Okay, for the big sheet, someone that wanted to know if I did them one at a time. Yes, so you have to, what I did is I did the full, all the full pink flowers. So stencil number 2, which is the solid flower, this one. I did all of those, positioned them where I wanted to be. I just kept mind of where each position, where each flower was positioned. Now you don't have to do it that way. I might next time try it the other way where I'll do all the colors, one full flower finish, move it to the next part on the adapter, another full flower finish. But what I did is I did one, stenciled it in the lighter pink color. This one, lighter pink color, same with all these other 3. Then I went back and then the darker pink color, and then all of them in the darker pink color. And then the last one in the blue, I went back and finished it up. You just have to remember where you did it, or just also kind of have an eye of where you positioned it. So let me just show you what you could do is find that one spot. So just kind of eyeball it where you think that area of the flower is. So if you can tell, I can see exactly that this is fine. So if I realize, darn it, I forgot to do that blue part or a certain part, I could go back in there and just find out where it notched on the adapter and it stays good. It's good. The other good thing, so I hope that answers your question. So it's up to you. This particular one, I did each stencil at a time. So all of them were at one point just all the pink, light pink. Then I went back and the next one was all the darker pink. So I didn't do a complete flower, finish it, move to this one, do a complete flower. I'm going to try that next time to see what was easier, but it didn't matter to me. I don't think. I hope that answers your question. There's one more feature about this, the tool that I want to show you that I absolutely love. So there's no little ridges here. There's no little wall here. If there was, I wouldn't be able to move this easily off to the side as I'm doing my overall pattern. Because if there was a little wall here, it would stop at a certain point. It wouldn't be able to go by. It would if I lifted it up and went over it, but it's almost like a little wall that would be there, and it wouldn't adhere my paper in this one particular area. But since this is the same exact height going all the way across, you're able to just slide it over. You're able to go back and forth. There's no walls that are stopping you from only doing this size here. You're able to do any size. So that's why I think a roll of not a whole roll, but wrapping paper, if you do like, and it'll adhere perfectly on here because wrapping paper is thin, it would be a great thing to try. Tissue paper maybe might be a little hard on here, but if you did it, I don't know, maybe if you adhere it also to this gray part, but that would be a fun thing to try with a tissue paper. Just do it really lightly so it doesn't tear when you lift it up. But one of the best features about this is that there's no little short wall here that's going to stop your paper from continuous motion left and right. So that is, oh, I wanted to talk about this really quick. So you get 5 in a sheet. This is the part that's an additional purchase. You get 5 per package. So lasts a long time because this one has lasted me many times in projects going through. I just make sure that I keep replacing my adhesive backing on there for storage, just because any dust, any particles that I don't want to ruin my new favorite tool, I make sure that they're on there, and this is on there so nothing will get in its way, and it'll be ready for me to play with in the next go round without any issues. So that's it. If Felicia could go ahead and turn it to the overhead, the front facing, then I can say thank you and goodbye. All right, my friends, I hope you've been inspired. I look forward to seeing any of the things that you've created. If you post them, if you could do the hashtag Make It With Michaels or hashtag Michaels Classes, hopefully we'll be able to take a peek at any questions you might have. Go ahead and put them in the chat. Maybe we can peek at them also, but I'm pretty sure Marcy has answered everything, or she's popped in here to get any clarification on anything. So I hope that's inspired you. I hope if you have the tool, you're going to hang up and start making something fun. And if you don't have it, I hope you go ahead and go on the website and order it as soon as possible. It's been so much fun sharing my favorite tool with all of you. And I look forward to seeing you again next time. And thank you, Michaels, for having me. Have a great day, everybody.